Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. We are proud to offer this series with funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded except for Texas Winds and are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. I am Martha Brown, your host for today's activities. Today, we are presenting the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History with Bethany and Lee, and they're showing us postcards. I am so excited to see postcards of old Fort Worth and maybe some other places. Lee and Bethany, it is all yours. Take it away.
All right, thank you very much. I'm just going to clear some space. I have coffee this morning. Oh, it's so good to see everyone again. It's been a while. It's been a while. Thank you.
Oh, great.
I've missed y'all. It's been busy. And then of course, January, Kirsty and Caleb they're doing some things upstairs. And so I told them that I would very much enjoy doing this program. And so I sent them to work. And so they're upstairs doing some things I need for them. But we wanted to focus on a little bit more of our archives and just kind of talk about the post office and postcards, because I really hadn't looked at our postcard collection, and the museum does have quite a few. Most of them are Texas related, local correspondences, but we do have a few out of the country. But I like it, and we kind of went off on a tangent of brushing up on just the concept of postcards and how it fits into world history as well as ours today. And so I figured we'd just kind of start through, take it back a few centuries, but then bring it to the 20th century and look at postcards, because now that I know, there are certain characteristics that even if it's not postmarked, you can roughly put it just by looking at it, like, oh, this is early 1900s as opposed to something from the 1850s. And I really kind of enjoyed looking at that, and we'll try to make heads and tails of some of the writing on it too. And we'll go ahead, and I figured I'd just get a little started on just some of the history, the origins, because with me, it makes very sense with postcards. Like if we take it all the way back to its simplest form, it's supposed to be something that is a very quick note and then sent. And so this concept really is not unheard of. It's not uncommon. Now there's several steps. Now, essentially, when we're focusing on Europe and North America, but by the time you have like the 17th century moving on into the 18th century, you've got printing presses, people are turning out books, they're turning out paper ephemera. That's really where some of this starts to, like, that groundwork is laid, because people are just like, oh, there's quantities. They're going to start utilizing paper products a lot more. Now, I'm only focusing like Europe, United States, North America kind of thing, because obviously, we're still early in North American history for us, for Anglo settlers, but that's where it starts. And of course it would. Our idea of Western correspondence and writing and note-taking. Now, what I didn't know, and I'm still a little fuzzy, so feel free to jump in. The United States, like, Postal Service. See, I didn't know this. Postcards originated under our post office, essentially. It wasn't private companies printing them just yet. The concept was still there. You had one postcard, but you had to go through the Postal Service. So you had to purchase it through them, and it was pre-stamped. But the whole idea of having publishing companies and printing companies mass producing postcards, we're not there yet by the time you're in American history, and then by the time of the mid 1800s, which I didn't know that. I didn't realize that it started under that. And so in 1861, oh, go ahead.
No, my wife's going out.
Oh, the U.S. Congress passed an act to allow cards weighing 1 ounce or under to be able to be mailed that didn't necessarily have to be produced from the U.S. Postal Service. So I really like that. Of course, we all know what's going on at that point. You've got the American Civil War in 1861, so it doesn't kick off, but it will post-Civil War. And so Europe's kind of doing their own thing. They're working on posts. You've got different countries doing their own postal services. Everyone's doing it a little bit different as far as like costs and if they're pre-stamped. And then by the time we get to our end, by the 1880s, they're starting to morph. So they're pretty much what we think of. But by the 1880s, they're starting to get a little bit more visual. You know, postcards were very simple. There wasn't a lot of fluff to them, not yet. So now you start getting into like small like images and sketches and vignettes, and we start seeing some of those. And from there, by the time you hit the late 1880s, you're really kicking off. And so that's kind of where we start with our collection. By the 1890s, they're becoming even more popular.
I remember as a kid that they could still buy the blank postcards from the post office.
Uh-huh.
The address on one side, and you turn it over and you wrote the message on the other side, but there was no picture. It was just still a blank postcard.
Yes, it was, you know, there really wasn't a lot to it.
No.
And so when you get into the 1890s, now it's one of those things where they become really popular as souvenirs.
Mhm.
You know, it was utilitarian beforehand, and
Right.
it's still primarily utilitarian, but now people are actively like purchasing, because now you have, again, publishing companies, they're printing things. And
Yep.
this whole concept of taking a postcard as a souvenir is, or utilizing them in that, for that, you know, reason, kind of changes culturally for us. Because I still, every so often I'll buy postcards. I used to when I was a lot younger, but I like them because truthfully, maybe y'all can understand, maybe you can agree with me. You know, when you had like flash photography and you had Kodak film, and or even the first few years of the digital camera, like your pictures were not the best, but a postcard had usually that ideal image. So if I was wanting to, like, if I knew I couldn't get that shot or wasn't able to, I would buy a postcard, and just that served as my picture, because, you know, I didn't necessarily want to carry a huge camera around my neck or pull a digital camera, because digital cameras were not that small. You know, they were still kind of wonky.
Yeah.
I was a kid, like I'm not carrying that around. So it was either up to my parents or buy a postcard.
So Lee, is that how you say her name?
Mhm. Yep.
Can you tell me when pictures of jackalopes started coming out on postcards?
Jackalopes. I don't know. We're gonna have to Google that because I have no idea.
You have no jackalope cards?
Yeah,
What?
I remember them. I remember them.
I
Yeah.
do not know.
Yeah.
That's a great. Well, we'll start there then. I have. Googled it.
Yeah.
That's why
You-
Kirsty's here.
You got to Google the whole history of jackalopes, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Bethany. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
I was just
All
kidding,
right.
guys. You can do what? Go
Oh,
carry
no,
on.
no way. Well, I don't know that. Who knows on that one? But all right. So, you know, we're in the 20th century, 1930s.
1930?
Jackalope.
Yeah,
1930.
really.
Wow.
A long time.
So, all right. So that puts us, we have a nice little overview of the trajectory of, you know, ephemera, paper, correspondence. Now we can start looking at American postcards for the most part. Sure. So I have to bring this one up because I actually got kind of confused. By the early 1900s, we have this concept, and this is how you can also date postcards if there's no postage mark on it. So beforehand, you may have an image. Let me see if I can find one. You may have an image like this, just takes up the whole part of one side of the postcard, and then you flip it over and you write your address and whatever little message, but that's pretty much it. It's, you know, you've got your stamp, you've got your postmark, and that's what we have. Well, by the time you get into the early 1900s, and I couldn't make out the postmark on this one, it's Fort Worth though, you get to something called the divided back, which I love, because that's what we think of as like a quintessential postcard. And if I can find one, so again, this is a plain one, but you've got this image, but there's no divided back. Well, I have a blank one here. And again, early 1900s, you've got the image, and there's your good old divided back, where you would write the address on one side, and then you would write your message on the other. So that is newer, I guess you could say. If we're spanning centuries, that's really what
that's good.
That's going to set, because this line right here wasn't always there. It was for a long, you know, for us, it was.
Blurry, I know.
Yeah.
It's got to catch up to itself.
So you can see the differences. Just, you know, this one is going to be a little bit later. This one's a little bit newer because of this line right there. And that is more of a British development. And then of course, the United States takes that on too. And again, that's what I like that. I like the divided. It keeps everything nice and neat. It's good for everyone. I mean, it's not that I don't appreciate people, you know, writing, you know, there's some written, that's fine too, but I do like where you can visibly see things.
It's probably easier for the post office because they didn't have to hunt for the address.
For sure. You know, when you're handling these things.
What year was this one of the Cowtown?
This one, I can't make out the postmark, but I'm gonna say early 1900s.
Okay.
It's like maybe 1902, I feel like.
Wow.
And this is of the packing houses. So Swift and Armor Company. I don't know if you want to zoom in on this one.
Yes.
One of the meat packing companies here. About roughly 1902.
You guys see that?
Armor, yes.
And then I can tell you
is there a date up in the top left right hand corner written on it?
It just says August 9th.
Okay. I'm sorry.
And it says, dearest mother, PW Jr. came in this morning on the 3:30 train. So now you must come over to see us some, you know, right soon. Love to you and the boys, lovingly, SVH. And this was sent to Mrs. W.V. Douglas, Mineral Wells.
Wow.
And it was postmarked from Fort Worth.
Okay.
That one there. And then this other one was just a blank one. It's of the Texas Women's College of Fort Worth.
Well, that it says August 9th, 07. Says
And
07.
I wonder if it's 07. It might be, and it just looks like 1900. What I was looking at over here was the August part.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know, because it looks like a 19 something, maybe a 2. I'm not quite sure, but you know, it works. It helps it. You know, we can kind of date it.
Yeah. It's in a general area.
But you know, going a little bit back, when it comes to Europe, you know, you definitely, Germany and Great Britain really have a play in postcards, because Germany's always interesting, you know, their history with the printing presses, but not only that, this notion of your letter, the letter that you craft needs to it needs to match the message, the content that's being sent. You don't need to craft a huge letter, take the time, use your good paper, use your ink, address the envelope, and do all of that to send just a couple of sentences. It's a waste for the consumer and it's costly. And so that between Germany, Great Britain, and us, everyone is utilizing postcards frequently, like every day. And so I had read where it's kind of what you would think of as our first early text messages
Mm-hmm.
with it. And to me, that's just interesting because yes, if you're only wanting to send a short note, why not use a postcard instead of having to write a letter with an envelope and then pay for the weight of whatever the postage is, depending on what country you're in. So postcards are definitely very practical. Then they start getting fancy. Okay, so that was in the 1800s. Now we're coming back to this side of the Atlantic and going through some of ours. I think I like to do things chronologically so we can see the differences. And so now I've pulled, we can go through up until I want to say the 70s with some of our postcards here. This is also to Mrs. Douglas of Mineral Wells. This is here in Fort Worth.
Can you zoom out? We can't see it.
There
Oh,
we
there
go.
it is. There it is. I'm sorry.
Perfect. No, you're fine. I
Mhm.
was trying to make sure I got the date correct. And let's see, this one is 1908. So we still are, we still have this nice full size photography image. I love it. This is also going to start getting popular. I thought I had this. Give me a second. And we turn it over. And this is Douglas, box 515, Mineral Wells, Texas. Let me see if I can read what it says, because he wrote it in pencil. I read your card last something calendar. I wish you could and would come over and stay a week or so with me. Mother, please see if you have a something. Okay, yep, no. This is Sunday. I'm waiting for Brian. And then I got nothing. I'm so sorry. Like I got some of it, but he's writing to his mom still.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a he. It may not be a he. It might be a lady, but she's writing to family with this one here. So I like that one.
That's cool.
Now, let me see. So we're also at this point getting into mass production at the United States. Postcards are everywhere. What I like is by like 1913, so we're in the 1910s. This is before World War I, of course. I'm going to bring back this one, this women's college. You see that nice white border?
Yeah.
That's a telltale sign. So within these next few years, you go from not necessarily everyone, but you go from ones that the image is the full all the way across the paper to this nice clean border. And a lot of people like this style, but it's really, again, it's more of a practical thing. You start saving money on ink if you don't go across the page, go across the card. And so you stop it, you have a nice clean border. It still looks good, but you can actually cut a little bit of cost with this. And so that kind of helps also date postcards. Because you're like, ooh, by 1913.
Lee, was that seriously a consideration, that little bit amount of ink?
From what I've read, and I've read it from a couple of a couple of universities that are studying postcards or have collections of postcards, because I'm like you, it's very subtle, but I guess if you're wanting to cut costs, and if you're mass producing them.
Yeah.
You're gonna cut some.
Walmart would do that.
Yes, absolutely. So by the 1910s, you're starting to get this. Now, with World War I coming up, obviously, not so much as World War II, but World War I, where even people are not sending near as many postcards. Mailing kind of slows down. So postcards are not quite as popular, but that will, it hits a little bit of a lag time. And then you start getting into the 1930s. which I don't think we have any, so I'll wait on that, but I'll show you some more of these. This one is 1907. This one is the Fort Worth University. Right here. Still trying to locate where that actually was. The buildings are no longer here. I'm still trying to figure out where Fort Worth University was in location to what we know about Fort Worth.
They said that,
Mm.
didn't Rebecca say when she was looking that it came, like Texas Wesleyan was, I mean, not
It-
location
It
necessarily.
had a
but-
religious affiliation, Episcopal, but this one again is also this is also to Mrs. Douglas of Mineral Wells. January 25th, but I cannot read it. But full-size image across the card. And then we just think this one's pretty. And this building no longer exists, but this is of the Meadowbrook Hotel that was in downtown Fort Worth. This one was built in 1912. This is an interior image. The Meadowbrook was torn down in the 70s. I don't remember this building. All I know is that it was downtown. It was a pretty good size hotel, but this was the inside of it. And I think it's beautiful. It's a blank card. But just from that right there, we can tell it's early 1900s. It's not 1800s.
Yeah.
It's a painting.
Fort Worth University was originally Texas Wesleyan.
Okay. Texas Wesleyan. I didn't even
Mhm.
realize Texas Wesleyan went that far back, but
Yeah,
Well, then
the
there's a
18
Texas Wesleyan now also, isn't there?
Right, yeah,
Yeah.
but it was started in 1881.
Hmm.
okay. So it's the precursor,
Right, yeah.
Texas Wesleyan.
So this one doesn't have white borders on it.
It doesn't. And so this one's going to be, this is the lobby of, sorry, not Meadowbrook, Westbrook Hotel, Fort Worth. So there's no white border. And let's see, the hotel was supposedly built in 1912. So it's probably right on that line of when you start adding a white border.
Okay.
It was
around
between
it.
Main, Houston, 3rd and 4th Street.
And the Westbrook Hotel was located at one point on Main.
It said between Main, Houston, 3rd and 4th.
Maine and Houston. So let's see, that would be what? North part of downtown, more towards the courthouse, I think. With this one here. So I did not know about this hotel. So I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. Now, for the exception of obviously World War II, supplies becomes limited. People are not printing things. Paper is hard to come across. Not counting that, but we're moving on up our timeline. So this is 1911. And I like this one here because this is really pretty. To me, this is a great example of
Mm.
it looks like a business card. It's beautiful. You've got color. And it's like I said, 1911. I love it. It looks great for its age. And it's going to C.W. Carpenter. But you can see 1911, that postage. Not much,
Oh.
not a lot of handwriting, but there's prints.
Okay.
Commercial use.
It's commercial use. If you're instrumental in our selling a piano to one of your friends during the next 10 days, we will give you $10. In addition to this, a beautiful bench to match your piano.
Wow.
Phone us the names or bring them in. This offer expires May 18th.
Wow. So this is like a mail advertisement, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
it is. And so it is.
Very beginning
It's
of
very
junk
beautiful.
mail.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Really nice business card /
Better than the
advertisement.
coupons we get now.
It is largest piano concern in Texas, the piano company. And then at the very bottom, it says, very bottom, this little bit of print here says one of a series of 12 landscapes. Watch for the next. That's what it's promoting. That's what this little fine print is here. But I like it.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Nice stamp. I love it. I love the
I
postcard.
love it, love it.
I love it.
So
All right.
this was also Fort Worth or somewhere else?
Yes, this one's Fort Worth. So they're located off Houston Street.
How much was the stamp?
I know.
Ooh, let's see. Postage stamp was 1 cent.
Oh,
1
Lord.
cent, people.
what a deal.
That's why they called them penny postcards.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, penny
Yeah, no.
postcards.
Yeah.
When
I
I,
never
when
heard
I was
that.
a kid,
What?
I used to be sent to my grandparents' farm, and my mother would include a stack of penny postcards.
Postcards.
And I was expected to send one every week back home, telling them what I'd been doing. And I
I
remember
love-
when they raised the price of postcards to 2 cents,
Wow.
my grandparents were incensed about that. They thought it was the worst thing possible.
Oh,
2
that's
cents.
so cute. I love that. Oh, you can practice your penmanship. Your parents know what you're doing.
Are you gonna?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
this is
a
advertising if you
win-win.
can print, if you have legible printing or,
Exactly. I love it. Oh my gosh. All right.
And
This
that's
next
where you
one-
got, give me your 2 cents worth,
yeah, that's right.
when it went to 2-cent postcards.
Is that true? Is
Yeah,
that true? Okay.
Yeah. hmm
All right. I believe you, Miss Martha.
I'm old enough.
But you're not that old.
The
Not that
2-cent
old.
stamp- the
Ah.
2-cent stamp was purplish blue.
Ah. All right. So this next one is Fort Worth, Texas. This is a bird's eye view of Main Street. So you're looking south. Well, you're south and you're looking north. And it says, "Hello, Mrs. Douglas. I am coming to see you at last. We'll be there this evening. Hope all are well. Sally V. Better something.
Nice.
June 29th. And this one is off again to Mrs. Douglas in Mineral Wells. And she's written at the bottom.
Mhm.
That's funny that they write it the same day they're going to arrive,
Yeah,
and
Absolutely.
it's still being delivered.
And it's still delivered before they get there. I mean,
Uh-huh.
you've got
Never
post
getting-
office.
I can remember getting mail twice a day.
Yes, that's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. Well, and even like I live in Cleburne. Well, even with like Cleburne, there's one local newspaper, but they would print newspapers twice a day and they would deliver twice a day.
yeah.
Newspapers. Mhm.
Yep, Fort Worth Salt Telegram used to do that.
Yes.
I know that it's a lot, and it literally that is
I
the
mean,
information.
I guess we still get mail twice a day if you buy from like Amazon.
Sure, you got your post office,
Now
Mail.
it's like not the same.
and then so we're still at 1 cent stamp.
1 cent. Okay.
Love it.
Stamp.
Then it talks a little bit about the bird's eye view of Main Street.
Evidently, Mrs. Douglas was well known because she had no street address.
Yeah, just a box. Just a box. They'd be like,
Well,
well,
Mineral Wells probably wasn't that big a town.
I don't think it was. I think it
No,
was a little bit
It's
on the
still not that big of a
side.
town.
It's still not big.
No,
My-
no,
my
it's still not that
grandparents
big.
live there. I have grandparents who live in Mineral Wells.
Oh.
It's not a big town at all.
No, I've been there.
Been there, done that.
It's not big.
I like this one. This one was probably one of my.
Oh yeah,
favorites.
Bethany really likes this one. This is from the Sanger brothers. March 10th, the two most brilliant events of the year for West Texas is the Fat Stock Show and Sanger's Spring Style Review Fort Worth Theater.
Ah, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Definitely advertising.
Isn't that nice? And it's vertical. It's not horizontal.
Oh, my word.
That's cool.
Fat
Wow.
stock show, yes.
That stock.
While attending, use this as your metropolitan store, which to me is very appropriate because as we all know, the Fort Worth Stock Show brings in a lot of money to downtown Fort Worth. It
Mhm.
does every year for the exception of when it was closed for COVID that one year. It's wonderful. It brings in millions and it looked like it was doing it back then too. This is 1928. So we're moving
Okay.
up. And look, we got fancy typewriter.
Mm,
We've got that. It's March 6th, Fort Worth. Let me,
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. That
Save time.
Airmail saves time.
Airmail saves time.
Airmail.
But that was kind of cool that they used the stock show to tie in with their style show.
That's right.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You might as well do everything.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to come into town, whether you're participating in the stock show or if you're merely visiting, you're right.
Style.
Yeah.
You.
You're gonna come to the fair. And I think this one is, and I just like the fact that it is vertical and that you
Yeah.
still, the ink is still holding up pretty nicely.
Mhm,
still.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I like this one. They did well, whoever printed this one. I don't know. Whatever company Sanger Brothers used. to
If
print
the women were smart, they'd come in with their husbands who wanted to go to
Yes.
the fat stock show and they would shop.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, I would do
Well,
that.
That's
Absolutely.
probably why Sanger's did it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it for sure. I think we're all on the same page. Okay, so this one is of the Auditorium Tower at Will Rogers Coliseum. I'm gonna take it out of its sleeve, and I like this because I don't think people really know very much about, why the Will
Mhm.
Rogers Coliseum was built. You've got Pioneer Tower right here and why that was built. That was built for the centennial back in 1936 for Texas independence. And, Will Rogers, it still looks like this. They've added since then, but
Yeah, but still, yeah.
it
Oh.
hasn't changed.
That's silent.
So it says Will Rogers, what? It says
It's the Auditorium and Tower
Auditorium, okay.
and Coliseum, so it's multiple things. Fort Worth, Texas, still serving the community. And this is 1951. So we're after World War II, everything. People are still sending postcards. They're not sending them quite as much as they were in the early 1900s.
Your 2 cent stamp now.
Oh yeah, we got 2 cents.
2 cents.
Woo, we got 2 cent stamp. But it's one of those things where, what we think of as the golden age of postcards, that was in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So they're still popular, but not near as far as
Mhm.
like mass production and sending. But we've got our nice clear date. They wrote in fancy pink pen. So I'm like,
Yes, and
oh,
cursive writing.
and cursive writing.
cursive writing.
And it's what? Dear Mrs. Pittman,
Hitman, yeah.
just a few lines. I will be home tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. You don't do something. Ralph. Oh, I can't read that, Ralph.
You don't need to help Ralph any longer.
Oh, thank you. They arrived there Saturday.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see you. Join soon.
Good for Ralph.
Good for Ralph. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Love Josephine.
Woo. I like this one because of the pink ink. Suddenly it's no longer black and white, you've got pink.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that ink hasn't faded.
I know.
It's
They
crazy. It's
they don't
almost
make writing utensils like they used to.
no.
Because you're right, it would fade. And then you've got what, give to the American Red Cross Fund. So
Mhm.
that's also marked. I like it. This is actually a lot of writing, I think, for a postcard. She utilized it.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
utilized the
I
space.
used to have hers, but
This is what, Lola Wood Pittman. Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
They're going to Oklahoma.
In apartment number 1.
Wow. I wonder how many apartments I had in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I don't know.
50.
51.
I don't know.
No, I don't know. Now, what I can tell you is, I don't know if you can tell. Can we zoom in anymore by chance?
Let me try. See what I can do.
Without touching it too much, but just the feel of the
No,
card.
that's
So
as good as it goes. Right?
there's like a transition period between the
Mhm.
1930s and the 1940s where they call it the linen period.
Hmm.
It's just when they're starting to add like different rag kind of threading
Okay.
to postcards.
Oh, okay.
And so it's giving that that feel, or maybe it's changing the texture a little bit, and it's giving,
You can kind of see it when
you
do
can
that.
kind of see it.
Hmm.
where it's almost like cross threading almost. It's you can start seeing it where they've added just a higher rag content, and they do this for a reason because, or from what I've read, is it can hold like a better, like a higher dye quality, like higher pigments for longer. And so that's why they're doing it. And so a lot of postcard companies are doing this.
Much. I don't think they're as worried much about saving costs because they've bled to the ends.
Yeah.
And now they're adding.
Yeah. And this one, they're getting
the
fancy,
linen
I
to
guess.
to their paper.
Yeah.
So
So
linen paper, I know now it's more expensive. I
It
assume
is.
It'd be more expensive then as well.
well, and it wouldn't surprise me at this point in the mid 19th century in the US where you have like variations. This, for all we know, like what Bethany said, this may have been a slightly more expensive postcard than just your simple
Yeah.
standard one.
So is this, did the post office make this and sell it through the post office? Or did somebody else make this?
This one is going to be a private, let's see. So yes, so this is considered a private one. This is published by Atlas News Shop in Fort Worth.
Okay,
Texas.
okay.
It's made in the US by EC Crop Company, Milwaukee. So we've got our publishing company that, we've got our private companies
Yes.
at, the US Postal Service is allowing people to utilize this as long as, like you said, you got the stamp.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's cheaper for the post office. They don't have to provide the paper and the
Oh,
and the
yeah.
stamp.
Absolutely. And we're going, our economy, decent. Let's see if I can get this back in the sleeve.
And nothing has changed in 150 years.
No.
They're still cheap.
They are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they are.
The best souvenir.
So
you
I'm
can
gonna
have.
roll through these next ones pretty quickly because I want to devote time. I have another subgroup over here of like seasonal festive postcards that I want to show, but I wanted everyone to see the transition. So we got 1950s again. Ooh.
Will Rogers again?
Ooh.
Will Rogers
Rogers.
again.
Yeah.
You got some fancy cars. I'm gonna like this. It's a blank one. This is what it is. You got the divided back, place stamp. We're good.
That's
This
nice.
is from
So now- so-
Mirror Chrome card.
So these are not pre-stamped like the ones that are from the post office.
Yes, these are not pre-stamped, so you have to use your own postage. But by the 1950s and everything, we're utilizing.
I have to go. Bye.
Okay.
Bye,
bye-bye,
Hans.
Hans
Bye,
and
Anna.
Anna.
We're utilizing photography. So
Yeah.
you definitely have this idea of like, what would you call it? Photochrome. And you're
Mhm.
taking photographs and they're utilizing them. And you start seeing this a lot. And I think they're beautiful. Again, this is 1950s, 1960s. This is of the famous Botanic Gardens. We're all kind of familiar with this. It's changed a little bit, but there used to be roses here. This is Fort Worth, right down the road from us.
Goodness.
I know, photographed and published by John A. Stryker, Western color artist. It's copyrighted. Just a blank one. Beautiful. So that's 1950s, 1960s. And then we have a wonderful one, 1975 of our museum.
Yay.
Yes,
Yay.
and let's just say it looks completely different, but this is from this, it's from the 70s. This is what the museum looked like when they actually built a museum and they were no longer utilizing a house off Summit Avenue.
Was
So
that
they
the
had
planetarium?
Yeah, they had the planetariums, open planetary
Yep.
painting.
They had the planetarium. We still have it. We've gone through a couple of adjustments,
Yeah.
but it's a pen pal.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is.
Pen pal, all right.
Dubai.
Bowling for Dallas.
I think it is Bowling for Dallas.
Dallas.
Dollars.
$4
From
Dallas from
That's
Dallas.
not Dubai, that's Dallas.
Ooh.
Oh, Dallas. I'm sorry.
The zip code
Wow.
is Dallas.
Jim Martinez right there.
Bowling for dollars.
Bowling for dollars. Pen pal bowling for dollars. It's like a Spanish game.
I love it. Western photo color. So we're starting to get that. And one of the youngest ones, I call it the youngest one. This one's 1986. So
Will
you
Rogers.
definitely see the difference. Yes, please.
Oh,
We're gonna zoom out. You can start seeing the difference. You got 1986 here of Will Rogers. Can't you tell it's very popular?
yeah.
They got that one during sunset, sunrise. all the time.
So you're getting from roughly, you're going from 1907 to 1986.
Yeah.
And this is a photograph. We already have it. This is a blank one, but you can see Will Rogers
Yeah.
Memorial Coliseum and Auditorium, Fort Worth, Texas.
This is a fascinating subject.
It
Yeah.
is.
It
Yeah.
is. So you say they're gonna have a display of postcards as they're setting up?
Well, we have a large postcard collection in our archives.
Yeah.
Currently, we don't have any on display, but
Okay, okay.
it has been mentioned
Okay.
because people like ephemera. I like ephemera. I like looking at all the various types of photographs and just papers. I love greeting cards. We're gonna fly through some of these. But look, it's a Valentine.
Oh,
Oh,
It's
I
the blue
love
bird of happiness.
Yeah.
happiness. It's embossed. I know you can't see that, but it
Okay.
is
You can see it on the back,
embossed. You can
yeah.
see it on the back. 1911, Philadelphia. Isn't that wonderful?
Very old.
Place the postage stamp. It's gonna be 1 cent domestic. I love it.
Oh, no.
And then it says, "Good morning, Mary." So
He's a man
good
of few
morning, Mary.
words.
Yes, man of few words. Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day, Miss Mary. We've got that one, which is
Ready,
still
ready. Yeah.
in very good condition, I might add.
Mhm.
A lot of those. are-
Well, I was gonna go chronological, but this is Happy New Year. Greetings to all, still
No,
kind of Christmassy.
pretty, yeah.
I love it.
Love it.
This one is postcard to Mrs. Givens and Miss June of Bowie, Texas. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yep.
Something 1919.
Wow.
Okay.
And it's from what, Los Angeles? So it's
Oh,
moving.
like, it's got like an in between. It's got the-
Yeah, it is Los Angeles.
Very small.
Moving across there. And we also have a happy birthday. Fondest wishes.
Oh,
Oh, that's cool. I like it.
Happy birthday. It is from Hope You will have many more happy birthdays, Mother. Mr. E.S. Miller.
Mm.
Look at it here. 1910.
1910.
city.
Wow.
I like that. City.
Oh, that's right. Okay, his mom wrote to him. His mom, guy, it took me a bit. His mom wrote, is writing to Mr. Miller,
You will
wishing
have
him a happy birthday.
unsigned.
Mr.
Yes,
I was a little slow. I was a little slow. I got it. I got it.
You did. Okay, good.
Mm.
I've got a couple of Easter ones here.
Oh, nice.
Oh, those are nice.
Are they
Beautiful.
pretty?
Yes.
A joyful Easter,
Mhm.
Easter greetings. And then if I flip them on the back, we do have some that are embossed. The bell is embossed.
Hmm.
There we go.
Someone was creative with their address.
They were.
Mm.
This is E.S.
That
Miller.
wouldn't fly with the post office today.
Yeah. It wouldn't, would it?
No,
Mm-mm.
it's got no
Oh.
zip code either.
Let me see this. Okay, so this one says, this is also from this is from the son sending it to his mom. Hello, Mama, how do you do? I am well and visiting. Weather is fine. Tell to drop me a postcard. Something, your thing, something. Harry Miller. I can't read some of it.
Oh,
The Reading Terminal, so it's coming out of Philadelphia.
Mhm.
yeah.
This never even made it to Texas. It just stayed in Pennsylvania.
This is tell Ed to drop me a postcard.
Oh, tell Ed to draw me are you sure the dot threw me? Tell Ed to drop me a
Maybe you
postcard.
can have enough room to write his full name.
Well, people have shorthand. you know, it
Yeah.
works family wise.
Well, if you have a postcard, you don't have a lot of space. Gotta
Hmm.
save your space.
Yeah.
Look at this one. We have a
They
St.
don't
Patrick's
finish.
Day, a
St.
bit of
Patrick's Day.
Irish.
Mm,
So it is.
I love the green. Green's my favorite color. This one is also embossed
Yeah.
in very good condition. So this one is being sent to Mrs. Bert Miller. I know, as I try to make out handwriting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Burt Miller.
You have a date on that one?
Let's see what I got here. It's, I can't see the postmark. It's kind of,
Yeah. That's
Is it-
okay.
the postmark's right here. I
Yeah.
just can't make it out. It's too,
Yeah.
mhm,
I talk about some nice color.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Very, very colorful. Yeah.
I like this one. All right. Those are my little fancy, yes. Yes, please. Those are my fancy ones that I feel like probably may have cost a little bit more.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for taking.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Yes.
so much, Eric. That was, or Lee, that was great.
Lee, we look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. As always,
Yes.
I do enjoy visiting with y'all. And now the weather's nice. We can get out of
Yeah.
the house. We can do more things.
We all learn from each other, don't we?
We really do. Yes,
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Well, let's take a second and take a look at what's coming up.
All right.
That's good.
Okay, we have the Fort Worth Museum of Science and History now and at 11:30. And at 1:30, we have Fitwits with Emily. Tomorrow at 10:30, we have Flowers with Peggy Spear. And flowers will be given to us 3 times tomorrow.
okay.
So we can all be ready for that. Anybody have any parting shots before we go? I know Lee needs to get ready for her next presentation. A 10-minute turnaround, Miss Lee.
Sounds good. I will see y'all later. Have a good
Okay,
rest of
have a
the
great
Bye.
day, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.